Welcome back to another All Things MSP Live. We're happy that you're here. Tonight's episode is about a topic that gets talked about a lot, but few people talk about what it really is and how to start doing it. I'm talking about driving business outcomes for your clients and not just maintaining their systems. This transforms your MSP into a strategic partner that contributes to the growth of their clients instead of just an outsourced expense. There will be no live stream next week since I'll be at Kaseya Connect in Las Vegas. You can find me at the Ignite booth on Innovation Alley. Don't forget to check out Uncle Marv's IT Business Podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Tonight's guest is Larry Cobran from MSP CFO. If you're running an MSP and you've wondered which clients are truly profitable, how to use your PSA data to make better decisions, or how to put AI to work inside your business, not just in marketing, don't miss Uncle Marv and Larry tonight at 8 p.m. And now, hot off the presses, here are some press releases I received from the last few weeks. Slide is coming to a city near you, and each session is built to be practical and interactive, combining a candid discussion of what's changing in BCDR, perspectives from MSPs already using Slide in the field, a live product demonstration, and a hands-on session where attendees can build and test ideas in real time using AI-assisted tools and Slide's API. Find out more at slide.tech, that's slide.tech. And from Quark, a new auto mapping capability in Quark Vantage that reduces the manual burden of mapping clients, devices, and inboxes across integrations while improving the data integrity required for scalable automation. You can find out more at quarkinc.com. That's CORKINC.com. LionGuard is launching a new MCP server that gives AI agents, automation platforms, and partner ecosystems secure, real-time programmatic access to a continuously updated layer of verified IT asset intelligence, meaning a continuously updated record of every device, identity, application, and configuration across an organization's technology environment. Find out more at liongard.com. That's liongard.com. Okay, I have a few more dials to spin and levers to pull to get tonight's episode running. So while I do that, here's a word from a couple of our sponsors for tonight's show. Without them, we could not do what we do for this community. Please consider booking a demo or checking out their website. Most voice over IP providers treat MSPs like an afterthought. But at OIT, they've built a partner program that actually scales with your business. Start as a channel partner and move to full white label when you're ready, without ever losing control of your clients or having to restart your billing. You can hit profit margins of up to 80%, while OIT handles the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Stop settling for small commissions and start building real equity in your brand. Click the link in the description or visit oit.co and explore their partner migration path today. At this point, you've probably already heard about Blumira and their SIM designed for MSPs. What you might not be aware of is their new MSP partner program. It features sales and product training, marketing support, a lead sharing program, flat rate pricing, bonus rebates, no annual contracts, and of course, a free NFR license for the MSP. It's great security with great support designed to help MSPs grow their business. Learn more at blumira.com. That's BLUMIRA.com. What's up, All Things MSP crew? Welcome back to another episode of All Things MSP Live. I am very interested in this topic tonight. It has really been kind of around the block, so to speak, in terms of a lot of people talking about this topic. But what I haven't seen is a lot of people talking about exactly how to do it. And I think that's important. Now, I will preface this tonight with this is not something you have to do, right? I think it is a logical evolution of the MSP ecosystem, but it's not something that's necessary. Now, here's why I like it. I like going after business outcomes because traditional IT support, especially as AI is becoming more and more capable, and eventually we'll be able to hand over some trusted tasks to the AI, you're going to see standard IT services consistently commoditized. And whenever you commoditize something, you frequently see a race to the bottom, right? When it comes to that type of service. And I think when we focus on business outcomes rather than just maintenance, what happens is you become more of a strategic advisor that helps with the growth of the business, and rather than just keeping it alive, if that makes sense. One can be looked at as purely an expense. The other one is actually moving the business forward. So that's why I wanted to talk tonight about driving business outcome. Uptime. Sorry. Had to make sure that I got my face up there. Not really. I could have done this without my face up there, but it helps to see the person who's talking. Anyway, so I titled this Ditch Uptime, Drive Outcomes. And okay, I'll admit a little bit of a teaser there, because I'm not actually telling you to ditch the standard IT services, because I think that is still the bread and butter. I think it is still something that is highly valuable and something that you guys will continue to provide for a long, long time. But I think if you're looking for a place to take your business that is going to be attractive to your clients, I think driving those business outcomes that are going to matter to them is going to make a difference. Okay. So what do we mean by this? What do we mean by driving business outcomes? Because this is something that is talked about a lot, but I haven't seen a lot of definitions for it or practical examples of it. So I consider it driving outcomes with clients is the practice of positioning services based on quantified business value rather than the technology alone. Now, as you will see as we go through these slides tonight and my commentary, that a lot of times it's just a rephrasing of doing some of the things that you're already doing. But what you're doing in the process is you're actually explaining it in ways that are going to be attractive to the CEO, the CFO, the COO, all of the C-level suite, right? Or the business owner, if we're talking about a smaller size business, right? And that's where the difference comes in, because you're not proving your value by nothing breaking. You're proving your value by actually driving the business forward. And that's what we're looking for here. And I do have some examples. But before I get to that, I think one of the fundamental things that you have to understand is you have to understand their P&L pain. You have to have the conversation with the CFO that asks the questions of, what are your biggest P&L pain points? And that can start a discussion of how to improve those, how to improve the business processes to resolve some of that P&L pain, how to take some of the innovation that's going on in their industry, putting technology around that, and then delivering that as a one-time project or service. So it's knowing what the dollars and cents mean in their business and the pieces of that that are causing them pain. Understanding their business processes enough to know where you can apply technology to drive better business processes and increase those KPIs, and also understanding their industry enough and understand what's going on in their industry to apply technology to either accelerate what's going on in their industry or solving the new problems that are coming up in their industry. One of which we've covered on earlier shows, is compliance, right? There is definitely a technology component and a cybersecurity component to compliance. The business outcome is compliance, but there are a lot of things that the MSP can do from a technology standpoint to make that compliance happen. And that's kind of what we're talking about, is taking a different mindset, taking more of a business mindset than a technology mindset to this. Now, I believe that I'm interested in this because I like to see where things are going, but also when I had my last MSP, it was actually subtitled IT and business consulting, because we were already looking towards helping people apply technology to their processes and the new things happening in their industries to make their business better. And so I kind of have already had that mindset as I was coming up through this, and now seeing it evolve more and more as a topic in the MSP community is really interesting to me. But I also wanted to bring some practical thoughts to it as well. So, some examples of what this might look like. And these are just simple examples. These are not meant to drive into detail. It's really meant to get you thinking about your existing clients and how they might apply some of these ideas, and how you might apply some of these ideas to them. So, in legal, increasing billable hours by decreasing administrative friction. There are a lot of administrative tasks that happen in a law firm. And it's not just law firms, but they tend to have a lot more administrative tasks than most businesses. And so, if you can find technology that reduces that friction and allows them to recapture those hours as billable, that's a big deal, because that's how they make their money. Another one is in healthcare, reducing patient wait times through better intake workflows. Again, the more patients they see, the more money they make. So they don't care about the technology that's going to reduce those wait times. It is the outcome of more patients going through the practice or going through the clinic that's going to increase revenue for them. And that's what's going to matter to them. And again, profit as well, because if you're doing this with technology, you're not throwing humans at the problem, which is probably the greatest expense in most of the businesses that we're going to talk about. All right. Manufacturing. So we go from service-based businesses to a product-based business, right? Now, one thing is, obviously every minute an assembly line is down, that's a cost, a real cost to them, because everything else, all of their other costs still exist. So really all that's happening is, when that assembly line is down, the cost to make all of the ones that they're shipping out the door increases. And so if you can decrease that downtime, you're increasing their profitability. What you have to get good at is being able to link the two with actual math, with calculations that are going to show, if the assembly line is down this long, it increases the cost of manufacturing those items by X, because you can only manufacture Y per hour if, the assembly line goes down an average of 30 minutes a day or 4 hours a week or whatever it is. You need to be able to reduce that and get rid of it. So if you can explain that to your customers, that's what's going to matter to them. Now, I thought I'd put this in there just so that we get a baseline of what we're talking about. Traditional managed IT services are basically built on preventing downtime. Okay. We went from break fix to managed services, and the whole reason there was to be more proactive and prevent downtime. And the problem with this, though, is that when you're doing a great job, they don't see it, right? You're fixing things before they break. You don't get to be the hero anymore. And kind of what it leaves them with a feeling of is paying for insurance. And nobody likes to pay for insurance. So that's one of the other reasons why, looking at this from a business outcome standpoint, they no longer are going to look at you as insurance, but somebody that's actually strategic in helping the business. And I know I'm using that word strategic a lot, but that it's important, because that is going to be one of the differentiators. So what is the new way? Basically, it's finding ways to grow their business rather than just maintain it, and increase profits so that they think of you as a strategic partner rather than insurance. And that is going to more easily justify higher rates, expensive project work, all of those different things, if you can put it into the business terms that actually matter to the owner, the CEO, CFO, whoever it is you're talking to. So how? Okay. So I told you I'd give you some practical advice on how to get started with this, right? So the 5 whys method. And if you haven't heard about this, it's something that allows you to get to the root cause of the problem. And then also you need to measure what matters. One of my, favorite Peter Drucker quotes, paraphrased, of course, is about measuring what matters. And the numbers that matter to the business are not necessarily the numbers that you've been traditionally tracking in order to sell IT services to those same businesses. So, does it require a little bit more work on your part? Yes, it does. But it's also going to be a lot more profitable to you. So, that investment in time, that investment in knowledge is going to pay off in higher profit margin services and projects. Okay. So, what does the 5 whys look like? Basically, if a client asks or says that they want a faster network, ask why. And they're going to say because the ERP is lagging. And you need to dig another layer. Why? Because the warehouse team can't scan pallets fast enough. So, what is the outcome? It's not fast Wi-Fi. It's increasing the warehouse throughput. And so you're again doing a project for faster Wi-Fi is something that probably everybody's done, right? You've replaced access points, you've put in better access points or closer together, you've rearranged, you know, all those things that you do to optimize Wi-Fi, but the business outcome is increasing the warehouse throughput. Now, I only put 2 whys on here because that's what would fit on the slide, but you get the idea where you're going why this, why this, why this, until you get down to the actual process that's being affected. And then you apply a technology to that to help solve the pain or the problem. And that's really, I mean, it's as simple as that, right? It's asking why until you get to the root of the problem, and then you apply technology. Because they could be asking for faster Wi-Fi, but the problem isn't the Wi-Fi. The problem is the barcode scanners. Okay. In this situation where they're scanning pallets, right? The problem could be that the accuracy of those scanners is bad, or it could be that the label printers that they're using to print the barcodes are not up to the task. And if you printed a better barcode or a different type of barcode that is more reliable to scan, then that fixes the problem. Find the root business problem or process problem and then apply the technology to it. Okay, measurable success. This is another way to look at it. If you look at the KPIs, the key performance indicators that matter to your clients, then you'll have a better handle on what business processes are going to help move those KPIs in the right direction. For legal, it's billable hours, straight up. That is the most important thing to a law firm is billable hours. For healthcare, it's patients per hour, right? Because the more patients they can move through with the same resources, the more revenue they're going to generate. For manufacturing, it's widgets per hour. There are different variations of that, like getting widgets out the door and things like that, but it still comes down to widgets per hour. How many widgets per hour can you make and get out the door? And so if you align your goals and your services to identifying what KPIs matter to that client, and then making sure that you are providing technology services as well as technology projects that are going to move that forward, that is what's going to help you move the needle for those clients and help you switch from business outcomes or switch from, regular standard IT support services to business outcomes. Positioning the tech. Okay. Another important piece of this is technology is the vehicle, not the outcome. Okay. So you want to make sure you're narrowing down to the outcome and then apply the technology. You want to focus on automation, not maintenance. Okay. Because those are going to be the proactive. Maintenance is almost always going to be reactive, right? I mean, there's a certain amount of you're going to keep things patched and all of that, and that is proactive. But there's still a lot of just the goal is keeping it up and running. The goal is making sure there isn't a problem. It's not improving things. Automation is improving performance, and that's what we're looking for. And the most important thing here is in order to sell it to the client, you are going to have to quantify that automation. You're going to actually have to put into dollars or numbers of widgets or billable hours, whatever's important to the client. You're going to have to quantify that to the client. Okay, so example number one of this, because I thought I'd provide a couple of examples of this, data integration for real-time intelligence. Okay, this is where you would take and either through a project or maybe it's a service, because maybe you develop the software and you sell it as a software as a service to implement some type of integration or middleware that connects two of their existing systems so that it can provide real-time business intelligence that's going to speed up that decision making. And so you're taking two disparate systems, connecting them together so that their business runs smarter and faster. Obviously, an improvement that's going to, improve either revenue or profit, and, it could do both. Example number two. Oh, clicked one too many times. Example two is zero trust architecture. Now, this is something that a lot of you are already doing, but you transfer the conversation or transform the conversation to business outcomes. So you're enabling a strategic business move like being able to hire globally. By putting in zero trust architecture, it makes them much more ready to have workers out in the field because now that remote work is much more secure. And rather than just selling a basic VPN, which might even be included in their firewall, as a conversation I had with an MSP the other day, that was one of the problems, is that he wanted to get them off of their basic VPN, but it was cheap. So we had to start talking about how he turns the conversation from pricing to now they're going to be able to expand their talent pool much larger and still make sure that the work is done securely so that they don't have any issues down the road. Still, it's a technology solution. It's something that a lot of you are already doing, but it's repackaged in this business outcome type of framework. Okay, so you also have to market this stuff, right? So one of the things that I encourage you to do is take a look at your website, your marketing material, because I'm sure that it has claims on it like you offer 24/7 monitoring, right? Ask yourself, so what? But in the mindset of the business owner, okay? So you're in the mindset of the business owner saying, so what if they offer 24/7 monitoring? What does that matter to me? The answer could be, so you never lose a sale due to a website crash. Well, that should be your headline, not the fact that you offer 24/7 monitoring, because that is what's going to resonate with the business owner rather than the 24/7 monitoring, which again, just sounds like insurance. Now, I should say, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat. I am monitoring the comments. So if you guys have any questions, happy to answer those live here on the show. Case studies are another way of doing this really well, of showing business outcomes. Instead of saying we migrated a client to the cloud, say how you helped a law firm increase their daily billable output by 2 hours per attorney using a cloud native document automation. I mean, pretty simple thing, right? And a lot of people, take just an online file collaboration and sharing tool, right? Like Ignite. And what you can do is if you implement that, is that going to get them that 2 hours per attorney per day to be able to bill more? And I think that's an easy answer. It's probably going to be a yes, because now they don't have to mess with a VPN. So they don't have to log into the VPN. It's going to work exactly the same whether they're at the office or whether at their house or a coffee shop, and it's still going to be just as secure. So technology that may already be part of your stack, but now you're framing it to the client, both in your selling process as well as your marketing processes, that you're actually going to improve their business, not just keep it safe, by implementing these different types of technology. Now, selling outcomes, because, of course, we have to market to these people first, then we have to sell to them. So, value-based discovery. These are basically asking questions during the sales process to find out what their biggest pain points are. Now, hopefully you've already done some research, and this is just an example, but if you were to ask if you could eliminate the 3-hour delay in their shipping process, what would that be worth to them, to their bottom line annually? Okay. Now, obviously, this is some type of manufacturing or logistics company, right? But you could write these questions for whatever types of verticals that you work in, right? Uh, Same thing if we ask the law firm, what would it mean to your bottom line if we can recapture 2 billable hours a day per attorney? I don't know a law firm on the planet that would turn that down because of the revenue and the profit that actually creates for the business, because it would be huge. And like I said in the beginning, the best part of this, it's not an or, it's an and. You can add these outcomes to your services, not instead of your regular IT services. And the benefit here is that not only are they an additional source of revenue, but they are typically a higher priced ticket item and a higher profit margin item, because they're based on knowledge work rather than a commoditized IT service that somebody can go out, buy a tool from a vendor, and just do. It takes experience in their industry. It takes understanding their industry, understanding their business processes to be able to implement. And that's another reason, by the way, that I don't think that MSPs are going to go away anytime soon, because I don't think large companies and even large MSPs who depend on standardization to increase profit margins and go after larger companies, I don't think you can apply that same thing to the average small to medium sized business. And it's that small to medium sized business that is going to continue to need this customization, this bespoke offering of services in order to be able to actually grow their businesses in a meaningful way. So that is all I've got tonight. I would love to hear any comments that you guys might have. And so I'm gonna hang out here for a second and see if anybody has any comments. If there's anything else that you'd like me to go over, I really do think that going after these business outcomes are going to put your MSP in the driver's seat when it comes to helping your clients and being more effective with your clients, being somebody who is more than just an outsourced help desk. Now, they still need that. There's no reason to get rid of it, but being just a help desk opens the door for them to shop around, because that side of the business is just going to become more and more commoditized. There's always going to be a place or a positioning where the help desk that provides the better experience is probably going to win and probably still going to be able to demand a higher price. However, for most MSPs, I think the standard service delivery is going to hit some type of plateau where the experience is good enough. And when that happens and it's consistent, probably because of AI and the other tools that have matured, I think that's when you're going to start seeing that help desk and standard managed IT services price just continue to creep down to the point where it just doesn't become profitable anymore, but we all still have to do it because it's part of the job. So what do? You find other services that are going to be higher profit margin, higher revenue, that's going to drive your business forward. And at the same time, it has the benefit of driving your client's business forward. So that's kind of my take on it. I hope that you guys got something out of this. I think that this driving of business outcomes is absolutely something that you should look at for your MSP. It's probably not for everybody, but I think those that kind of grasp onto it are going to be able to grow their revenues and grow their profits and probably weather some of the storms that are coming due to the commoditized nature of just providing help desk. All right. Well, that's it for this evening. Thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Hopefully this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments if it was. If you disagree with me, that's fine too. This whole community was built to have conversations around the non-technical side of being an MSP. And that's what we want to help with. We want to hear all sides because we think that there are so many different ways to do this. And even though there may be some best practices, those best practices don't work for everybody. So they're not the best for everybody. They've worked for some, they might have worked for many, but they don't work for all. All right. Again, thank you so much. Don't forget, Uncle Marv comes up at 8 o'clock tonight. He's got a special guest on tonight, and that's going to be a great show. And don't forget, I won't be here next week. But if you are going to be at Kaseya Connect next week, you can come find me at the Ignite booth. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching All Things MSP Live. You can reach me, Eric Anthony, at eric@allthingsmsp.com. If you're a guest, if you're a vendor, if you want to sponsor the show, let me know.